All right, we are recording. Good afternoon to everybody who's here. Actually, it's still morning for me. I'm on the West Coast. It's 11:30 here, but I'm glad everybody was able to come. Hopefully, some more people will trickle on as we go. But I just want to say that in March, we have dedicated kvCORE success strategies to getting everyone ready for the spring selling season. I know that the spring is like the busy time for all the real estate agents. And we want to put you in the best position we can to make sure that you can take full advantage and do all the deals that are possible in the spring here. So I just want to welcome everybody, and that's kind of what we're going to be going over. Today's topic is about getting organized. So we're going to start at the beginning, kind of the basics, but I'm I'm not surprised anymore when I see like a lot of agents that I work with. They've got all these leads in their database, and we don't have any leads in their database, but the organization is not there to really take advantage of what kvCORE can do for you, and what you can do for yourself, really, to go ahead and make a lot of deals happen for you. So I'm going to put this into the chat. This is our agenda doc for the day. And what I did was, hang on, let me get the link. Just the chat here for you guys. What I did was I put an agenda down for you. And I'll bring this over so you guys can kind of see what we're going to go over with today. We're going to talk about, um, no, come down with me. We're going to talk about some SMART goal settings. We're going to talk about getting leads into your database. We're going to talk about automations. We're going to talk about hashtagging for planning purposes and mining your engaged leads for spring. So a lot of stuff packed into 1 hour. And if you want to do a deeper dive into any of these topics, anything you might want to do a deeper dive into, I put a bunch of different YouTube videos. These are past success meetups that we've done on different topics that we're going to kind of touch on today. But I think this is a really good resource for you. If you're like, yeah, I want to get a little more in depth on some of the things that I talked about, you can reference this document. You can watch these videos. They're great resources for you. So I wanted to make sure everybody got that. All right. So I'm going to take this and pull this back. The first thing I'm going to do is really quickly talk about some SMART goals. So I know everybody's got goals. My goal that I hear all the time from agents is I want to make some more money. And don't we all? Definitely. But we really want to talk about doing SMART goals. We want to think about being very specific with the goal that we're after. So making more money is a very general one. We want to think about making something that's more specific. Is it going to be, I'm going to make this amount of money? I'm going to have this many deals. I'm going to talk to this many people. A very specific goal that you can have that is measurable. Because if you just say make lots of money, that's not something that's measurable, right? Lots of money is different to different people. So you definitely want to make sure it's measurable. You also want to make sure it's attainable, right? So like you don't want to be like, I want to make, $100 million this year. I mean, maybe you could do that, but based on what you have and what's doable, you want to think about, is this an attainable goal for me? And then of course you want to be relevant to your career. So again, making lots of money is relevant, but doing X many deals or a certain specific amount of commission is a little more relevant to your career. And then you just want to make sure it's time based. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to have these goals and I'm going to accomplish them when? I'm going to accomplish them this year. I'm going to accomplish them this spring, maybe. So think about the goals that you want to attain. And then I'm just going to click here to our, oh, no, does this work? Goal calculator. There we go. Which actually I will put this, I'll share this link and I'll put it in I didn't do it, but I'll put it in the document that I had. Let's see. This is a very rough estimate, right? Goal calculator. God, I'm a horrible speller today. There we go. That's in the doc for you guys. Is to say, what is your goal? Is my goal to make, does somebody want to throw in the chat what their goal is for this year? Anybody? How much money they want to make this year? 150,000. Okay. So if I want to make $150,000 this year, who was that? Who said 150? I think it was Sarita said 150. Sarita, what's the average gross commission that you get in your market? Would you say? 5K? 25, Sarita, 2,500. Okay. So she gets $2,500 every time she does a house. And that means you need to close 60 deals this year. In order to close 60 deals, you're going to need about 6,000 leads coming into your system, and you're going to need about 23 leads a day. And um, that might seem like a lot, right? I know some people might be getting like 5,000. You might need 10. That's a little more doable. Kind of depends where you're at, right? So basically, you want to use this to just think about this here, is that the average close rate is only 1% on leads. Now, that's based on kind of globally, but if you think about it, there's leads out there that have a much higher close rate. Leads that, people that past clients, referrals, all that stuff. So this is kind of based on, you're not working every day, right? Like 11 new leads every single day. And how do you do that? Well, in kvCORE, as you know, there's lots of lead generation tools, but there also is, if you think about it, all the people that you know in your life, all of your past clients, you meet people at networking events, you meet people at church, you meet people at any kind of place you go. And where you go, you should kind of think about um, people, when you leave a room, should know that you're a real estate agent, and you should have been collecting people's information the best you can without being weird and salesy, right? So definitely want to think about that when you're out and about and gathering stuff up, right? So this is just a really rough estimate to just kind of get into your brain, like, what do I have to do? What is my actual SMART goal? Is it, if this is my commission for the year, this is what I have to do. Maybe my SMART goal is not 150,000. My SMART goal is I got to get 11 leads into my system a day, right? That kind of thing. Um, Thanks, Natalie. Natalie's here. Natalie's here to give us little tidbits of advice. So if you click on that link, you'll need to make your own copy. So just when you click on it, just go up to File and hit Make a Copy, and you guys can get your own copy if you want to of this for you. Okay, so it was just kind of like a quick overview of kind of think about those kinds of things when you're deciding what you're going to do for spring. And then this is just, if you've ever come to a webinar before with kvCORE, you've seen this a billion times probably. If you build your database and then you nurture your clients, you're going to convert them. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is building your database and nurturing them to make sure that you're ready to convert them when the time comes. Okay. So I'm going to X out of here and bring over my kvCORE. We're going to spend the rest of the time not in a slide deck, but right inside of kvCORE. All right, so let me grab my agenda here. So let's talk getting leads into your database. Now, some of you might have 10,000 leads in your database, and some of you might have 2 leads in your database, and it could obviously go anywhere in between. If you are low on leads, the very easiest thing you can do is to get your sphere into your database. Every single person you know in your whole entire life should be in here. Why? I don't care if they don't even live here, right? Like, if you can nurture them, they might know somebody who lives where you are. They're always a great source of referrals, all right? So you want to think about getting everybody into your database. There's lots of ways to do that. We've got the 10 by 10 method, which is, if you think about 10 different places in your life and 10 different people you know in each of those places, you could start making a list of all the people. I mean, for me, my Christmas card list is my go-to. I send about 100 Christmas cards out a month. a year. And if I looked at it, I have it on a spreadsheet because I mail merge it every year. And if I thought about it, I could probably go in and find email addresses for almost all of those people because they're people I care about that know me, and I could find their email, and I could easily get 100 leads into my system just by looking at my Christmas card list, right? But when you're out and about and you're collecting information, when you collect cards from people, they should go right into your database. Everybody you know in your whole life long should be in there. Okay. Another great tool that kvCORE has for getting leads into your database that are your sphere is your playbooks. So if you go right here, I'm actually going to pop this open because I can never remember what these are and I've worked here forever. So if you go to playbooks, we have several different ones, but one of them is gathering your sphere and working your sphere. So if you open your playbook, you're going to import that Christmas card list or the list you made, somewhere else on an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm not going to go through it, the whole thing today, because I actually put a link to that. We did a whole hour on it if you want to, but this is a really great way to kind of hold your hand through the process of getting these leads in, because once you have your sphere in there, then you can start using the work your sphere playbook where you're going to go ahead and you're going to hashtag them, you're going to get them in groups, you're going to reach out to them, you're going to set up the automations for them. It really walks you through it. So if you don't have your sphere in kvCORE, this is my homework for you. My number one thing I'm asking you to do today is open up these playbooks, get your sphere in there, get them set up on automation, and you will see you'll see that. Someone said I'm frozen. Am I still frozen? Maybe I'm just frozen for Lori. No. Okay, good. Whew. Lori, I'm sorry. Maybe you're having an internet snafu. Okay, just making sure. Alrighty. So that is another great way to get leads into your database. So let's say you've got your leads in there, you've got some sphere in there, and you might say to me, how is that going to help me get to my goal? And your sphere, let's go to your sphere is your very first line of referral sources, right? I don't care if your sphere, like let's say Lily is part of your sphere, and Lily is your aunt, and she's your Aunt Martha, actually, type situation. Aunt Lily. Aunt Lily will die in her house. She's never going to buy with you. She's never going to sell with you. You're like, why do I want to put her in here? And I'll tell you why, because Lily is a busybody who actually has about a zillion friends. And every time she's at church or every time she's at her canasta game or whatever it is, she knows a bunch of people. And if you can set up your automations for someone like Lily, where like the first person she thinks of when anybody says, oh, I'm thinking about moving, I'm thinking about selling my home, I'm thinking about buying a home, and she's chatting with someone, you're going to be the first person she recommends. Because she knows you're a real estate agent, right? So obviously you want to keep in touch with Lily. Next time you see her at Thanksgiving dinner, drop a little hint about being a real estate agent. But in kvCORE, if you set up your automations for her, she's always going to know that you're a real estate agent. And I'm going to walk you through that really fast. So Lily lives here, and this is her address. And like I said, you'll get to sell that home when she dies, but not today. And that's okay, because you're going to set her up on a search alert. And you might say, why? Why am I setting someone up on a search alert when they're not looking for a house? Because Lily cares what her neighbors are doing. So if you set her up on a search alert and you draw it on the map for Lily, just put in her address, and it's going to kind of zoom in a little bit. And if you just keep hitting the plus sign, you're going to get down to Echo Ridge Road. You're going to get down to where she lives. So she probably lives right around here. Now, you know your area better than I do, what would constitute her neighborhood. But if I just draw, right around her house and apply it, then anytime anyone ever lists their home in that little area that's known to her, a couple streets either way of her, she's going to get a notification about it. She wants to know about it, and you're going to be the one that tells her about it. So my niece Heather always keeps me informed anytime my neighbors sell their home. And it's not going to happen all the time, maybe a couple times a year, but she cares. She's going to want to go to the open house. She's going to look inside and see what's up, right? So I might say this is Lily's neighborhood watch. And we use dynamic subject lines for listing alerts normally, because if you're sending it to like a new lead and you're sending it every day or every week, it can get caught up in spam filters if you're sending the same exact subject line all the time. And so that's why I normally would say, leave this alone and keep it with the dynamic subject line. But for Lily, because A, you know her, and she's probably gotten emails from me before, and B, this is not going to happen every week or every day or anything like that. It's going to happen every once in a while. You can give her a subject line if you're choosing. And my subject line would be Aunt Lily, one of your neighbors just listed their home. And I'm going to do it ASAP because, like I said, it's just going to happen every so often. She's not going to get inundated. And if you set that up for her one time, then let's see if anybody, so there's a couple in her neighborhood right now. If you set that up for her one time, she's going to get it forever, forever and ever. And that's a touch that you can make to her. It's information that she wants. It's valuable to her. So you want to be providing value. And it reminds her that you're a real estate agent. Everybody you know should have this in your kvCORE. Okay. We go back to her timeline. The other thing we're going to do for her is we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to set her up with a market report or a listing valuation. If you know that their home address, I'm going to set them up with a listing valuation. And save it. And now once a month, it's going to send her an email that's going to tell her this is what your home is worth. And underneath that email, underneath what her home is worth, there will be an entire market report for her area. That's why I don't recommend doing both, because the only difference between a market report and a listing valuation is the amount the home is worth at the top. I've had people say to me, I don't like that number. I think it's wrong. We just go off of public records and, we can't change that. However, if you don't like that number, you could X out that listing valuation, simply set her up with a market report for her zip code. Either way, she's going to get valuable information about her area once a month forever. So you're touching her at least once a month here, and then maybe once more there. And if you think about it, that's a good way to go. One more spot for her would be your campaigns. And I would put her on the, oh, do I not have it turned on? I don't have it turned on. Let me go back to my campaigns really fast. In your core library, if you have been with us before October of last year, you're probably using the old campaigns. If you're ahead of October, you probably have the new campaigns. So if you have the old campaigns, pop over to your kvCORE library and add our new closed campaigns. These are, in my opinion, way better than the old ones we had. And I think will get you where you want to be. So I'm not going to go into them today, but you definitely want to be using those campaigns. One of those campaigns is the kvCORE homeowner campaign. I think I just don't have it turned on. Here it is. I have it in there like too many times, but I'll just turn this one on. It's a nice little home ownership tip every month. It's a little article like, how to get your home ready for, summer maintenance, or get your house ready for a holiday guest, or things like that. It's a nice little once a month tip that you can do for your homeowners that are your sphere, or you can do it for your past clients or whatever. So I'm going to do that for Lily. Actually, I'm going to do that as well. Because again, she's a homeowner. She cares about this kind of stuff. And that's another way to touch her. Sphere homeowner, there it is. So now we have all this stuff set up for her. And come spring selling season, when somebody's ready to buy or sell, she's going to be the one to recommend you because you're the one that's providing value to her on a regular basis. Okay. One other thing I want to say while we're talking about automations is you might say to me, oh my gosh, Heather, I don't have time to do all that. You take it in chunks. Set your SMART goals for 5 people a day. I'm going to add 5 sphere people that I know and set them up. But one thing that makes it a little easy for you is if you go into your marketing and you click right here, which is your market report and valuation settings. And come on, load for me. My internet has been bad all day. Okay. So you can turn, I highly recommend toggling all of these on, but the first one up here is when you add someone with an address, it's going to automatically set up that valuation for you. So if you do that, toggle this on, and then when you start adding people, even if you don't get to their listing alert where you draw around their, around their house, they will still get that listing valuation sent to them automatically. You don't have to just get them in the system, and this will happen automatically for you. The same thing with the market report. So if once they look at any kind of property, it will set up a market report for you automatically once a month. So you don't have to actually go in there and set that up. It won't do it. So this right here. So remember when I was saying you don't want to do both. So if it doesn't have a listing valuation, then it will set up a market report. Okay. Just literally just going into your marketing right here and just toggling those suckers on is the easiest thing you could possibly do, right? I just want to toggle them on. All right. All right, where was I? So now we want to set up those automations, get all those people in there. And the other automations that you want to think about doing now, those are for your sphere and your past clients. If you have people in here that are new leads, again, you want all those automations set up. The nice thing about kvCORE is that if you have a new lead and they came in looking at something on your site, they will already have a listing alert set up for them. And if you have that little thing toggled on, they will get a market report set up for them. So again, delivering them value with everything you're doing in kvCORE. Okay. One other place I want to send you is if you pop on down to your business analytics, you can see what's going on with your database, right? So let's say you have been doing lead generation. Let's say you have a lot of leads in here and you want to see what's happening with these leads. You can look at your source performance and see, hey, which of these sources are giving me the most percentage of close? Now, these are fake numbers. This is just my little fake database here. But if you've been putting squeeze pages out in the world and you see that your close rate on that was 3%, do more of that, right? Or if you've been doing property boost and you see that your close rate is 5% or whatever it is, do more of that. Get more of those leads that are working for you into the system. Over on kvCORE activity, though, this is kind of really where I wanted to put you, is your unengaged leads. So I had, if you remember, if I go to my pipeline, I have 106 contacts in my system. Of those 106 contacts, bad Heather, only 92 of them have a search alert set up. Okay. That's kind of criminal. Okay. So bad Heather. What you want to do is you want to click here and you want to say, okay, who of these people should I be setting search alerts up for? And the answer is all of them. And so you can click on that every day, and that could be another SMART goal for you. Every day, 5 people, I'm going to go in and set up a search alert for them. Maybe I have zero idea what they're looking for. I don't know this person from Adam, like this person right here. Don't know who these people are. I have no idea. Okay, well, what is a good search alert for your area? Pick your county, pick your city, send them something, set it up for once a week. Once they start seeing things in their inbox and they start looking at it and they start looking at different houses, you can come back and refine that down to match what they're looking for. But if you don't send them anything, they don't know who you are. You don't know what's up, right? So a lot of people are like, I don't know this person, I don't know what to send them. Everybody wants properties, whether they're looking or not. It's always fun to look, and that's a good thing to send. So I would definitely get them set up with a search alert if you can. So question was, what if I have them set up and they never answer emails, text, or phone calls? Chuck has a lot of work to do. Gulp is right. Yeah, I mean, some people are not going to ever answer you. Like I said, if Natalie said that the average industry rate of conversion is only, 1-ish%, right? So yeah, there's lots of people that aren't going to. The point is you're going to want to talk to the people that are. So we're going to talk about looking for engaged leads after I get done with this part. Can you set up alerts on a mass email? Not a mass email, but you can set up a mass alert. So if you have, let's say that I want all my new leads, let's click on new leads. So I have new leads that don't have search alerts. Okay. Maybe I don't know what these people are looking for. Maybe I'm just going to set them up with that county situation, right? So what you would want to do to be able to just en masse set everybody up with something, so you don't have to go into each individual one, is to go to your marketing and click on search alerts. So I might want to create an alert for, let's say, Queens. I think I'm in the New York MLS. Yeah. So let's say the county of Queens, New York. I'm making it real big because I don't know. Maybe most of these people, that's the area I work, but I don't know what they're looking for. So I might do Queens. I might leave it at that. Maybe I want to get it down to like, okay, I'm only going to do, single family homes and townhomes. Where's my townhomes? Townhomes and condos, maybe. I guess you guys have co-ops up there in New York, condos, that kind of thing. I mean, you can add other things, obviously, whatever it is that you want to work with or you want to be sending people. I mean, you could even put in a minimum price range or something so people aren't looking at like mobile homes and stuff, whatever you want to do. I would not set it up for daily because it's such a wide area that they're going to get an email every single day. And that's too much, especially for someone who does not know you. I would set it up for either once a week or twice a month for those people because you just don't know. So I would maybe do once a week to start. I would not toggle on the open houses for these people. Again, there's going to be too many. They're going to get too much. And I would add the alert. Oh, wait, you got to do some stuff up here first. We have to name the alert. The alert is Queens General Alert. And we're going to put in a hashtag here. And only because it makes you also that if you want to add that hashtag to someone, it will automatically set them up with this alert. So my hashtag might be Queens Gen Alert. Okay. And so if I do that and I add that alert, now that alert lives here in my search alerts. Okay. So if I go back here to my contacts and I said, okay, let's see, what was it? It was all my new leads that do not have a search alert. Right? But I'm going to do all of them. And actually I could do this to like 250 rows. So I just get them all in one. You can do 250 at a time. So I want to make sure I do all of these people. I'm going to go to more actions and I am going to add a search alert. And I'm going to choose that Queens General Alert. And now I've en masse added them something. You have all these leads in there. You've got to get something out to them, anything, okay, to get them involved in your website, to get them coming back. start seeing activity so you can mine it. Okay, so I've got some questions. What's the best template for sending my Sphere market stats every month? You don't need a template, which is the great thing. So if you are, let me clear this out of here. If you go to your Sphere, let me go back to Lily, like I said before. And we had set her up with, once you set someone up with a market, actually, we didn't do that. We did a search. Let's do somebody else. So let's do Isaac. So Isaac, if I wanted to set him up with a market report for Queens, let's do the city, let's say, and I'm going to do it once a month, and I add it. I can send it now, actually. And when I send it, this is what he gets. You don't have to, you don't have to do any kind of template. It's already made for you. It's already branded to you. It's already done in the system. He's going to see, and he's going to see what's going on in Queens already. So you don't have to do that. That makes sense. Can you please explain how to open folders for different categories of leads? Sure. So you guys might notice that we've revamped our CRM interface here, just released, I think, last week. And when you're in here, you can literally just filter as you go. So it used to be like you had to make all your choices and then run the filter. And now you can just filter as you go. So if I want to do, I want all my new leads that, let's say, so then they'll just give me new leads. And then I want it to be that don't, when you go to behavior, that don't have a search alert, which I don't have any anymore because I put all those people on it actually. So it'll be 0. But I guess two people still don't. But you could say, okay, well, that's because they don't have an email. That's why. But then I can save that filter to new leads alert or something. And you can either save it or you can pin it. Once you save it and pin it, now it's right here. And I can just pull that folder up at any time I want to. That makes sense. Brian wants to know, could you show us how you got to the reports? I think I just did that. If you're okay with what I just did, if not, let me know. Julia said, can you repeat those steps? So yeah, so I think you meant the steps for mass adding the search alert. So the first thing you would do is you would go to your marketing search alert. You want to create the alert. So fill in all this stuff. And once you do that, you'll have an alert set up here. Then you can go back to your contacts and you can choose the contacts that you want to add that alert to. And once you do that, so let's say I want to add them to all these people, you would hit add search alert and pick up the alert that you wanted and add it. Now I'm not going to do that because I didn't really do a filter for this, but that's the steps that you would take to mass add a search alert. Can you set up a search alert based on the lead's address? No, you could go into the lead's contact and draw that area, or you could do a listing alert for their, make them a listing alert for their zip code or something, but there's no way to automatically make a listing alert that pulls out from their address. No. People on my list are getting alerts that I didn't set up. How does that happen? So if anybody that's in your database has been to your website and they've looked at listings on your site, then the system will automatically set them up with a listing alert for homes that match the criteria of the homes they were looking for on your site. When one sends a text, does the unsubscribe alert come on? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you mass import these, which is what I did with these particular people, you can't mass, you can text these people like one off, like you could send Emily a text, one off text, but you couldn't mass text her in a mass text until she opts in. And so I can, a second here, I'll put this in the chat, but I'll also put it on the agenda page. We did a whole engage meetup on this. Yeah, I'll set this up for you guys. Share on different strategies, like different emails or text messages that you can send out to get people opted in. So I'll put that there, but I'll also put it on the doc that we're working on today. Switch it here. There you go. You guys got that on the agenda doc as well. Okay. I want to get to kind of mining for engaged leads. So I'll answer a couple more questions here, but how do we do incomplete task past due when you have all those? Yeah. First of all, I want to say that if you guys have a ton of incomplete tasks, one of the main things that's probably has happened is you're using our old campaigns. So in the past, and I can't take enough time to like tell you how much better the new core campaigns are. But if you are using the smart campaign, our old smart campaigns, oh no, am I frozen again? There we go. My internet has been wacky all day. If you're using the old campaigns, what would happen was you had once a lead became active, any incoming communication. Let me see if I even have them in here anymore. I probably don't. Any incoming communication, yeah, like default active buyer. It was a task to check in with them once a week for 29 weeks. And that was like my main thing with, not my main thing, but one of the biggest things with switching over to the new campaigns is that this doesn't happen anymore. Now you have the core active buyer campaign, which what that is just one task for you to be able to, okay, we're going to pick a different campaign. We're going to set up our follow-up because we don't know what they said to you. If they said, I'm just browsing, following up with them a task once a week for the next 29 weeks is just going to clog up your task list. And that's not a great thing. So turn these off. All that is good and holy, like please turn them off and start using the core active buyer and active seller campaigns. It's not really a campaign. What it is one task. And it says, hey, make sure they're on the listing alert, make sure they're on a market report, pick a better campaign. And while I'm here, I'll just do a little shameless plug in the marketplace under done for you services right here. You can purchase, it's a one-time fee, extra smart campaigns that we call situational. So if they say I'm just browsing, you have a just browsing campaign. If they say I'm working on my credit, there's a credit repair campaign. If they say, oh, I'm going to sell the house next year, my last kid leaves for college, there's a long-term seller campaign. So these campaigns make sense for what they told you when they do become active. So that's an option for you, or you can go and write your own campaigns. Okay. But you want to make sure their automations are set up and you have some kind of follow-up scheduled with anybody who's talked to you. All right. Oh, the tasks. Back to the tasks. So if you're on your dashboard and you have all of your tasks and you have a ton that are past due, have a look through them. But if there are a lot of them are those generic, like check in every week type situations, I would rather you just delete them all and start fresh than feel so overwhelmed that I have to look through all of these, that you never get started, because that can be kind of paralyzing, right? So you can just go here and you can mass delete them. And then that's the end. They're starting with a totally clean slate and just go from there is what I would do if I were you. Okay, let's see. When mass texting, wait, okay, if I add, does the unsubscribe language show? Yes. If I had close client, their date of close, I have a close client and their date of their close where they get an automatic first year anniversary. Congratulations. Yes, if you have your automation turned on, but there's a big button here. Here's your birthdays and anniversaries. You have to have them turned on. They will get a birthday email or a birthday text, a home anniversary email or home anniversary text. It doesn't say first, it just says happy house anniversary. But these don't change. We set them up for you, just upon import. But if you don't change them, they're going to get the same one every year. So go in there once a year, set it up, task for yourself to go in and change the template every year so they're not getting the same thing. Okay. All right. I can testimonial tree. I will at the end if I have time. Done for you.
We have a lot of questions about the unsubscribe messaging. So just to address that really quickly, the first text message we send out will always have an unsubscribe option when you're sending an individual text message, but all leads now should have to be opted in at one point or another in order to receive text messages from the system. All emails will also contain an unsubscribe link. And this is so that we're able to remain compliant and also helps with deliverability rates. You will get a message anytime somebody chooses to unsubscribe as well. So you'll be able to see that happening.
Yeah, the unsubscribe link actually does not happen in the emails that you make on your own, but they do if they're system emails. And one way to fix that situation is in your smart campaigns templates. You have all these things called merge tags. And I can't remember the actual merge tag for the unsubscribe. So I'm going to go into an email and find it. I think it's just unsubscribe link. Here are your merge tags. Lead unsubscribe URL. So this merges in the exact URL that a lead would have to go unsubscribe themselves as the person that they are. So what I like to do is I like to take that unsubscribe URL merge tag and put it in my signature. I think I've already done it actually. It's here, but I don't want that actually. Did I? Oh. Yeah, I'll take that out of there. You could just put it here. Put here. Just put unsubscribe URL. It will work, and it will say to unsubscribe, click here, and that it gives them their own unsubscribe button to do that. So you can put that in your signature as well. That link right there. I'll actually put that. I don't think you can copy and paste out of a chat, but I'll put it in there anyway. Okay. All right, so we've got 15 minutes left, and maybe if I have time, I'll get some more of these questions, or Natalie can answer some. But I really want to get to, I just closed down kvCORE. I really want to get to looking for your engaged leads and kind of working your dashboard, okay? So once we're in our dashboard, this is your activity stream. And this is all the stuff people are doing in your database, okay? So if you go to here, you can just see property views, valuations. You can drill down to certain things. But if you want to look at this stuff, you can and decide what's going on. So Sophia Jones has been looking at lots of properties. You can tell that. She's also favorited a property. So if you see this little heart, it means that they favorited a property. If you see like a little fire, which I don't think I have, it means, oh, there it is. This means that it's a hot property. So you definitely want to be looking for those kinds of things. And, if you have 10,000 people in your database and they're all on listing alerts and they're all on market reports, you're going to see a lot of activity. Who do I call? Who do I reach out to? You want to reach out to the people. You want to look for the people that are highly engaged. So she's looking at a lot of stuff. She's engaged. She favorited a property. She's engaged. What I would do is I would call her, but we don't have a phone number for her. You could send her a core video if you have core video, which I highly recommend. Send her an email or whatever. Reach out to her in some way. Hey, I saw you favorited this property. Maybe give her a little extra information about the property that she might not be able to know from the listing, and show your value that way. And be like, hey, would you like to go see it? Or maybe you don't take people out to see things until you have like, the pre-approval or whatever. Hey, are you pre-approved? If you are, I can take you out to see it or whatever it is. But you definitely want to look into that and be reaching out to people that are engaged. The other thing you want to do is look at some other stuff. So like here's Brooklyn. Brooklyn checked her home value online and she looked at some properties, and Brooklyn happens to be a sphere, which means that you're sending her stuff, right? You're sending her listing valuations. Maybe you had her set up on a search alert. I didn't. But if she's looked at some stuff and she's done some stuff, she's curious. Is Brooklyn, a friend of yours that has owned her home for like 6 or 7 years? And, hey, this might be her raising her hand saying she's thinking about making a move. So I would just check in with her and just say, hey, Brooklyn, and I saw you on my website. Just want you to know I'm so happy that you were there. Anytime you need any help with real estate, that's your safe place to search. Just checking in. Are you thinking about making a move, or you were just curious about what was happening in your neighborhood? Should be questions that you should be asking those people, right? So every day, that's another kind of SMART goal, is to go into my dashboard, pick 5 people or 3 people that I'm going to call or text or email or do something with because they've been engaged in my website, because they've raised their hand with their actions. So they might not be, like they might be a new lead that has never gotten back to you, but if they're in there doing stuff, that's the person that you want to reach out to and call. So if you use those new core campaigns, there will be phone calls. The system will ask you to make, hey, this lead is new, call them, or this lead, has been here X amount of time, call them. But you really want to start calling them and doing things when they take some actions to really mine your database for those leads. The last thing I want to say about when you're doing your mining and when you're doing your talking to people is using your hashtags. So Brooklyn is a sphere and she's a family member. And so this should be an easy conversation to have with her. And maybe when Brooklyn says, oh, you know what, I was just looking around, but, me and John, we're thinking about, little Joey is going off to college next year and we're really thinking about downsizing next fall. You should be hashtagging timelines for these people. So if they have a future timeline, the first thing I like to do is future. So I know who all my future people are. If someone has said, I'm going to do it, but in the future, I'm going to hashtag them as such. And then at any time I can pull up my future list and call through them and see where everybody's at. But the other thing I would do is if Brooklyn said next year, next fall, which would be fall 2025, right? I can type. I would add that hashtag too, so that come spring 2025, I'm going to check in with all my fall people and see where they're at. I'm going to pull that list up and say, okay, who told me that they were probably going to be ready, or who do I think is going to be ready then? Because not just your friends and your family, but you have a lot of, when you get new leads in and they say, oh, I'm just browsing. Oh, it is whatever. I always say, well, why are you browsing? What's your timeline? Oh, probably a year or two out. Cool. Keep looking on my website. That's fine. I'll get in touch with you later on, and make sure you make that note and put that hashtag in, because people make a lot of notes, but that doesn't help you with mining your database. You really want to make hashtags so that you can find these people again. And that happens again with your filters. So when you're in your smart CRM, and you're looking for your hashtags, I want all the people that are ready in fall 2025. And it's going to pull up the one guy that I just hashtagged as fall 2025. But you want to be able to pull that list at any time. So you could have made a note that said that, but that note will go off into oblivion if you don't hashtag them appropriately so that you can then filter for them later on, if that makes sense. So making those hashtags, you could even get it down to months, seasons, months, that kind of stuff. Start using your hashtags, and I put in the doc there. Oh, we did a whole thing about managing your hashtags and best practices for hashtags, because those are the ways that you're really going to drill down into your database. And so had you been doing this last year, you would have a spring 2024 list that you could pull up and start working with to make sure everybody's ready to go. That told you that that's when they were going to be ready, is spring 2024. Okay. All righty. Any other questions, Natalie? Kind of themes that people have been wanting to look for?
Yeah, we had a couple questions about, again, the kind of opt-in question as well as mass text messaging. How does that work?
Yeah, so if a lead comes into your database, let's say that you're running a property boost and they come in from Facebook, that is an implicit opt-in. When they sign up, when they say yes, give over my information, they're giving permission to text and to email somebody. Okay. If you drop in a list of like 3,000 people from a spreadsheet, there is a column on there saying that you have permission to call and text, but because of anti-spam rules, we're not allowed to let you mass text all those people till they opt in first. So if a lead comes into your system from like a third party source, like your email Dropbox, they come in from a lead gen source. Those you can mass text them all day long. Okay. But if you drop them in a spreadsheet, that's the one exception. You cannot mass text them until they opt in. So you want to start going through, especially like if it's your Christmas card list, like I said, one really great way to do that, because the system texts from your smart number, is to individually, like, actually, I'll do this right now. Go into your smart campaigns and create a template for a text message and say, hi. And if you use your I call it the squiggly bracket, but it's the bracket above the bracket, it will pull up all of your merge tags. So it'll pull in the first name. I just wanted you to know that I got a new phone number. Do me a favor and put this in your contact list and let me know you got it. Question mark. If you do this and they come back, they text you back and say, got it, they're now opted in. Any incoming text message to your smart number from these people automatically opts them in. So, this number. And then I would call this template. If you're making templates in kvCORE, always put your initials at the front. You won't find it again. Otherwise, there's so many great templates in here, but you probably wouldn't find it. So I always put my initials in. Opt in text for imported leads, right? And I'm going to add that template. When I do that, now I don't have to type it out every time. And so if I go back into my contacts and I want to send a text to somebody, although I put in a bunch of these people that don't have phone numbers. Let me find somebody who has a phone number. So some users has phone. And then you can just take that template. And so Sally Jones has a phone. And I say, I'm going to send a text. And you can, first thing you could use our smart, our ChatGPT integration and ask it to write you a text message. But if you have a canned response right here, and I say HB, and let's see, opt in for imported leads right there. That's the one I did. And I send it, just go in and do 5 a day. Get them to say, yep, got it, back to you. And they're going to be opted in, and then you can mass text them again. Okay. Let's see, any other questions? Where do you find your smart number? It is in your lead engine. If you go to call and text capture, this is your smart number. Now, I have it, your smart number is shared by everybody in your office. I believe it's, or team if you're on a team. Okay, you get teams, usually a lot of times will get that their own smart numbers. If you don't want to share it with another agent, you can purchase your own smart number in the marketplace. But it's smart for a reason. And this is what I always say, if you're not putting it in print anywhere, you don't necessarily need your own smart number. If you are putting it in print somewhere and someone, any Joe off the street can call that number, that's going to round robin to everybody, all the leads in your office. But if somebody calls that number from a number that's in your contact list, it goes directly to you. It's smart like that. So if you're using it and the person's calling you back from that number in your database, it's always going to go to you. You don't have to worry about it. But if you're putting it in print, you're putting it on a sign writer, you're using your text code somewhere else, I would highly recommend getting your own smart number, but you don't have to if you're not putting it in print. Okay. All right, any other questions? We're about ready. Let's look. Everybody's asking if it's worth it. And again, I'm telling you it's worth it if you're going to put it somewhere. One great place to put it is your sign writers. And that way people, when they're driving by, you can use your text codes. So, I mean, there's so much to talk about with text codes, but if you did info and then just text info to my number, then you're going to capture their cell phone number. It's going to go right into kvCORE for you. And it's going to send them back the listing that you want to send them, and they can start looking at it. And so you're going to get a lead right off of that. So if you're doing those kinds of things, it's highly worth it. If you're not so much. Okay. I'm just trying to look for anything else here. Any other questions? Things that are coming up, Natalie?
Well, I hope we got to everything. I know there were a few in the chat I was worried we might have missed, but you guys were so great with participation today. I think I will just throw one help article into the chat before we hop off about the unsubscribe, because I see we still have a lot of questions about that. So let me add that in here.
If you want
And
to send it to me too, I'll put it in the agenda doc as well.
why don't we do that? And then anybody who's got additional questions about unsubscribe can make sure to read through that documentation. You can see exactly how we've got it worded. And yeah, the recording, we will send the recording out. So if you missed any of it, if you hopped on late or whatever, just let us know. Well, I guess we don't need to. We'll just send it out to you. No worries.
Yeah, we'll send it. Everybody who's registered will get it. And I just put that doc back in there if people missed it at the very beginning.
We had a lot of really great questions that I think future topics we could potentially use. I know we had questions about ponds. We had questions about maybe using the system for farming. So those are such great questions, but they would take so much time. And unfortunately, we don't have enough time to dig into them today. But Heather's got a ton of great content coming up in the next session. So hopefully y'all can join next time too.
Yeah, we're gonna continue on for our spring selling season theme for March. And so next week, I actually won't be here, but Kelly, our head of training, is going to be running next week's session, and she is fantabulous. And so I highly recommend you all go to that link there, and I'll actually put that link in the chat as well, and make sure that you're registered for next week. And then we'll see you then. I will be here the following week after that, and we'll have session number 3 for March. Take care, everybody.